All right, so I figure we go chronologically. It seems the best way to go. And for me, that sounds like British boot camp for you. So tell me a little bit about the British boot camp process. How did that come about? Was that something you applied for? Was that something that TNA reached out for you to be a part of?
They reached out to me, and it wasn't something I even knew was happening. I think the early days of it wasn't actually supposed to be British boot camp. It was supposed to be so many different things before it actually became what it was. Mm-hmm. And they reached out to me, they reached out to Marty, they reached out to the Blossoms, and the rest is history, as they say. I looked at the whole thing as an opportunity, and there's in the wrestling business you have a very small window of opportunity. So I just looked at it as especially someone like myself who's 5'4", I haven't got the biggest frame. I'm not big at all. I'm not the standard of what big companies look for in a pro wrestler. But I had personality, I had drive, I had heart, and I just thought I'm going to throw everything that I have into this opportunity. And if they say no to me, I can live with that because they told me to my face, and I know I threw everything I had into it. And very fortunate for the opportunity, and thank the heavens above, the right place, the right time, the right opportunity, and the right people saw me, and they gave me the contract, and one of the most surreal experience, but one of the most happiest experiences of my life, because it was something I'd been working towards for nearly just over 10 years, and just to be able to say to my mum and dad, I did it. All them times that you saw me battered when I walked in, and all the people that were saying it was pointless. I don't have to throw it in anyone's face. It's just that, for self-satisfaction, I did it, and I'm very proud of that.
Now, after British Boot Camp, you wound up heading over to OVW, and OVW's been in the news lately with Danny Davis has just announced, the long-time owner has announced that he's selling his stake in the company. So if I could just get your thoughts on your time spent at OVW and working with Danny Davis.
The best 10 months education into the business I've ever had, and everybody should, in my opinion, everybody should go there to learn. When I first got there, I thought, I know what I'm doing, but you really don't, and you find out what actually everything you're doing is, and what television means, what the idea of television is, how a television show is put together, live events, working properly and working, with a purpose, and it was just such an education, and I was so happy with it. It was, a lot of people get, really salty at the fact that, what am I in developmental for? I should be straight on TV. That wasn't my mindset. I was like, if I get enough, I've won British Boot Camp. If nothing comes of this, at least I got educated in the business by some of the absolute best, in like Rick Rogers, Al Snow, Danny Davis. It was a fun time, and Al always told me, because these are going to be the most fun times you have in the business, and it really was. And if Danny sold up, I know that that's a business decision of his, but I know that the person he's handed over the reins to is Dean Hill, and Dean's a wonderful man, and he's been with OVW since day one. Mm-hmm. And Dean's an ex-police officer, and he's an enormous man. He looks like what Kevin Nash would if he was, like in his 70s. But Dean is a wonderful, wonderful man, and I wish OVW, the organisation, Danny Davis, in whatever decision he's made, and Dean Hill, all the best for the future.
Right. Now, from OVW, made the move up to the main TNA roster, and for a lot of your tenure with TNA so far, you seem to have been coupled with EC3, whether that's been as friends or as foes. You've been tag team partners, you've been up against each other. So what's it like for you to see EC3 picking up the World Heavyweight Championship just a couple of weeks ago, after being such an important part of each other's careers up until this point?
It was rewarding. Mm-hmm. If we're talking, out of character and everything like that, it was completely rewarding because I was part of that, and I was part of 3/4 of that journey that that Michael Hutter had, giving the finger to all those people that told him he wasn't good enough, and it was an awesome feeling because I took pride in being a part of that. I took pride in helping him, move forward with his career, and I know he took pride in, helping my career as well, and that's what it's about. It's about helping each other. It's not about going in there selfishly making yourself. It's about helping each other. So then we've all got someone else to work with going forward, or someone else has got someone else to work with. It's all about, it's a snowball effect. You want to make it bigger and bigger and bigger. So very rewarding. Someone who truly deserves it, and someone that can, carry the championship and be an actual face for the company, and will be a leader for the company as well. So my hat's off to him, because he worked his arse off, and he knows that there's no one that wants it more than him than me, and I know that there's no one that wants it more than me than him. Mm-hmm. And that's why when you see us on screen together, that's brought out of each other. And I was part of that, and I felt part of that, for the longest of times. And so all I can say is good for him, because he deserves it.
Yeah. Now, you're back in the UK at the moment, and you've got a seminar coming out with Progress tonight and all the rest of the week. I think, have you done something with PCW as well?
Right, yeah, I've just done the PCW free show for the troops.
So how have you found being back in the UK, being around the UK scene again, and perhaps coming at things from a seminars perspective?
I'm extremely, happy that, the guys that are on the scene now, they're carrying the scene forward. I firmly believe that within the next 10 years there's going to be a British promotion that's going to have television, because the standard of the guys is that good. In regards to doing the amount of seminars I'm doing, it's just really to pass on the knowledge that I've learned, to educate the guys over here of what this business actually is, because I think a lot of people don't understand that the entire business isn't built around having good matches. It's about engaging your audience, because the only people that know what a great match is are usually wrestling fans, but it's the people that are outside of wrestling that we really want to engage. So it's something I'm going to pass on, and there's been some amazing feedback from the seminars that I've been doing, which I'm very proud of, because I really love teaching, because I love this business so much, and I want to give back to it, because people have given to me, and it's been really rewarding so far. I've got some more seminars coming up. I've got a full week of seminars right now while I'm in London, and I've got some up north, so really looking forward to them too.
Yeah, the UK scene, it does really seem to be on the upswing, sort of blowing up at the moment. I know there's a lot of New Zealand talent over here in our scene who are looking at England as sort of the next big thing, the place they'd like to be. Why do you think that is? What can you attribute? Can you attribute that to anything specifically?
I think it's just the drive of the guys, and obviously we're a very small country, but everybody's had more of an education of the industry from obviously working with TNA. A lot WWE have taken a lot of the guys. It's and when they return, they can give advice. And I think a lot of people have learnt from others' mistakes over the 10 years previous as well, and are running it more like a business, which is how you should be running it, which is extremely rewarding to the promoters and extremely rewarding to the talent as well. So the fact that it's been run more like a business, I think, is the main factor. Once people concentrate on little things like lighting, production, cameras, once they get that whole concept down, it wouldn't hurt if one of the the television studios were ever hired out, and somewhere in the country, and a show was put on there to get the live audience in, just like a TNA would, I believe, in Orlando. And I think that would really help, a UK promotion, have that education of filming for television instead of just filming for DVD sales. Right,
yeah. And it's not only just the promotions and the wrestlers themselves in the UK that are picking up, but it seems like it's really just a good audience over there in the UK. Like when you watch Impact, for example, and the fans just seem rabid for the product. You've got a bit of experience now being over in the US. I think you've been to Japan for Wrestle One as well. So with your experience of different crowds all over the world, how do you rank the UK fans?
Oh, number one.
Yeah.
Number one every time. I've been in New York City, I've been Tokyo, Japan, and nothing beats England. It really doesn't, because they're wrestling fans to the core. They love to be entertained. And that's the difference between us, because Britain has always loved pantomime, and we've always loved interacting with what we're watching. And that's a big part of English culture, whether it be on social media nowadays with watching X Factor or anything like that and having their opinion. We're a very opinionated bunch. We've always got something to moan about, whether it's the weather or whether it's getting up on a Monday. But we always want to have an opinion on something. And, if it's wrestling, we're very passionate about everything, whether it be football, pro wrestling, rugby, Coronation Street, whatever. And, that comes out at the show because we don't... You'll always watch, WrestleMania and you'll see everybody go over there and you'll just know that the entire audience is majority British. Just because some of the football chants, some of everything like that. I mean, you just know, and as a Brit, it just makes you smile, and it's so awesome because, this country is one of the best countries in the world, and we're friends with America and all, and we all have that banter with them and stuff, but there's no better fans than here in the UK.
Yeah. Now, you're living in the US at the moment, so what have you found the main differences are, not wrestling-wise, but just in your personal life, living over there versus living in the UK? What differences are you finding?
Girls want to talk to me more because I'm British.
Ah, brilliant.
No, it's a lot of things, really. Cold beer, ice cold beer, that's another one. Mm-hmm. I mean, I came over here and I go, have you got any ice cold beer? No, we're not allowed to do that. Why? It's ridiculous. For some reason, England's not allowed to put beer in ice. I don't understand it.
That's weird.
But there's other things like bacon. Their bacon's awful. and when you give, I have this argument with Ken Anderson all the time. He goes, "What you guys have is ham. It's not bacon." No, it's bacon, mate, and it's the best bacon of all time. Okay. Sometimes it's Danish, but it's our bacon. It's the best. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. But those are the main differences. Just a few foods here and there. But I've got used to having pancakes with my breakfast in the morning. Everybody looks at me funny when I want baked beans, but beggars can't be choosers. But you know what? I'm living in the United States of America, living the dream, mate. I have nothing to complain about.
Yeah, you're doing quite well.
I'm doing all right.
Now, outside of TNA television programming, you seem to be very active with things like the I'm with Spud Wednesdays. I think last year there was the Spin Cycle. You, EC3, and the Bromans involved in that. Who's in charge of coming up with the ideas for the sort of the online programming like that? Is that a thing that you've got a lot of creative control over?
The majority is Josh Matthews and Jeremy Borash.
Right.
With the Spin Cycle, it was more Jeremy Borash and a collective effort of myself, EC3, and Robbie, and Jesse, and Zima, and nothing to do with Sonata because he's garbage. But every little bit of it was just us getting together, and what can we do to make this entertaining? And just it's more of a case of we don't want to be sitting around with our thumb up our asses. Let's do something productive, even if it's just entertaining with this absolute ridiculous concept of I don't even know what it was. It's just had its own little world. And that was the same as myself with On with Spud Wednesday. Josh originally wanted me to do a show that would advertise the Impact program, which eventually became the Josh Matthews Impact Wrestling Preview. But he wanted me to do that, and I was like, we could do a lot more with this, and eventually just kind of, because we were still getting used to each other as colleagues at the time, and I'm sure him coming straight to WWE, like what the hell's this guy, and then I went, just let me do this, let me do that, and then eventually Josh was just like, what do we do next week? And then it just became its own little world, and it was great fun to do, and from doing that, me and Josh bonded and became great friends, because all we do is insult each other, and just it's just a bond where you know what your humour is, and we just had a fun time doing it, just making people laugh. And we got Robbie involved in it, which completely destroyed all viewership that we had. That's what Robbie does. This is what Robbie does. He'll get in something, and then he'll just take all its money and ruin it, and then he'll just move on to the next one because he's scum, and we all hate Robbie. So that's pretty much how it goes, really. I think it happened with Spin Cycle, only Sonata was more of a scumbag than Robbie was. So that's why, Sonata just came in and made us all friends, and then the show ended. It couldn't have ended on a better note, to be fair. But that was Spin Cycle. And those shows were some of the most fun things I've done. Real fun stuff. And, it just takes you away from the wrestling and just lets you be a character and be an entertainer and be your own entertainer and be what you want to be. It's just, It's been really fun times.
I can only imagine, because they're very fun to watch as a viewer. So yeah, being part of it, that must be great for you guys.
We're literally holding laughter. There are so many times when Jeremy Borash is like hiding behind someone because he's dying laughing, and I'm cracking up. Robbie's laughing, EC3's laughing, Jesse's laughing, Zeman's laughing, the camera crew are laughing. Sonata has no clue what's going on, but we're all, you know what I mean? It's just garbage.
Now, so on top of TNA programming, you got all this stuff on the internet. You're also very active when it comes to doing the rounds with media as well. I've seen you in multiple interviews like that. Now, you don't have to hold back on my account, but is that a part of your job that you enjoy, or is that just more of a necessary evil, having to get out there and promote things?
I love all aspects of this business, and I'm an advocate for the company I work for. I am very happy with the company I work for, and will promote the company I work for, and I'll promote everything about it. I love doing media. I love talking about pro wrestling. It's the best business in the world. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I love being active. I love being active with the fans. I love being, you know, I like meeting the fans and letting them know that we're all, you know, we used to be just like you. You know what I mean? And you know, and let them have that connection with you, and just I just like entertaining people, just put a smile on someone's face, like whether that makes them happy, or or it makes them happy that I've got beaten up because I was a jerk to them. Just to put smiles on people's faces is what this business should be about. And you can talk about money, you can talk about politics, and you can talk about not given the right chance or anything like that. What this business is about is putting smiles on people's faces, and I want to be one of those people that when they know that I'm booked on the card, when they know they're turned on the television, when they go on YouTube, when they go on social media, they know I'm doing it to make them have fun and entertain them. So, that's my take on it. I mean, we're doing this interview right now, and I just love talking about pro wrestling and the company I work for and the people I'm surrounded by, because, you can't wake up around the people I'm surrounded by in the country I'm in, working with the company that I do without having a positive attitude, because I can't explain it any better than that.
Yeah, no, I get you, Drift. I understand what you're saying entirely. A little bit earlier this year, a lot of us media sorts had a conference call with Billy Corgan when he'd just come on board as the creative team, and throughout the call he kept mentioning that one of the things he wanted to work on was TNA, developing a style for TNA, sort of a TNA specific style. I'm wondering if you have any thoughts, or perhaps your take on what is TNA's unique style that sets it apart.
Well, what sets it apart right now compared to everywhere else in the industry is that we actually have good guys and bad guys. There's no shades of grey. Mm-hmm. We have people that you can get behind and want to see win and overcome the odds, and people that you dislike, that you want to go to the arenas and boo, and you don't want to see, defeat our heroes. That's the difference, because everywhere else it seems like everyone's just going in there and having a good match, and everyone chants "this is awesome," and then no one gets booed and no one gets cheered. It's just, we like both of them. But I firmly believe that the only way you draw money is through love and hate, and if you love everybody, you're not really going to pay to see anyone lose, are you? So it's
good point.
Or if everyone you like everyone, you're not going to care when you actually don't want the bad guy to lose. So it's really, people need to remember what the essence of the business was, and that was good versus evil and telling great stories. And the prime example of that was EC3 Rockstar Spud at Wembley. There hasn't been, and everyone raved about that match, which is a huge compliment. And I think the reason everybody raved about it was because they hadn't seen anything like it in a long time, because no one had done a bad guy and a good guy match in a long time. And to the essence core, it wasn't like, we're gonna have it so this is the guy you're supposed to cheer and this is the guy you're supposed to hate. They wanted me to beat him, and they felt terrible when I lost, and they didn't want him to win. And everybody can say that was because of the English crowd, or that was because of other elements of it. If that match was anywhere in the world, it would have got the same reaction. With that build-up, the great writing that the writers did, Dave Lagana, Matt Conway, John Gaburick, the way the match structured, and the most rewarding thing about it to me was everybody was talking about TNA again, and that's all I cared about. When everyone goes, that was a great match, but they were talking about, you have to tune into Impact to watch this match, and that's what I cared about more than anything.
To sort of segue off that, we had a conference call with Kurt Angle and EC3 last month, and I was talking to them about it. It used to be back in the day that you sort of have 4 weeks of TV leading up into a pay-per-view, and now that's not the case anymore. And as you were saying, you sort of have to tune into the television product every week because that's where the big happenings are occurring. So what are your thoughts on that and the way that sort of in 2015 television's taken on much more importance than perhaps the old model where pay-per-view was the king?
Well, pay-per-view is gradually being phased out in regards to, I mean, for example, you can buy Netflix, so you don't have to tune into a TV station. You can buy, you can buy movies early, so you don't have to wait for DVDs. It's, the world's very on demand.
Yep.
And I think that's what people want. They want their pro wrestling when they want it, and whatever it is they want to watch. So I think that's the way of the world, really. It's an on-demand world, and we're moving up with the times.
Yep, very true. All right, well, I will probably let you go now because I know you've got a busy day ahead of you, so I'll just hit you with one last question.
Okay, sir.
So looking towards sort of immediate future, I know you've had a shot at the world title. Unfortunately, couldn't pick up the win, but you've had the X Division title twice. You're doing quite well for yourself. Where do you hope to see yourself sort of perhaps December, the end of the year, end of 2015, going into 2016?
Well, when we get to 2016, it'll be the UK tour.
Oh, yes.
And, I know that we're going back to my hometown of Birmingham, so I have no problem in shouting this out from the rooftop right now, and I'll throw it out there everywhere. If EC3 is still the World Heavyweight Champion, I challenge EC3 to a match for the World Heavyweight title in my hometown of Birmingham. There is nothing that would be greater than to have a match like that over the road where I used to work in a bank, which was no more than 500 yards away, looking at the NAIA, dreaming when I was a kid that I wanted to wrestle in that building, to wrestle for the World Heavyweight Championship in my hometown. Mate, stuff dreams are made of. And I know everybody has heard me say it a million times, oh, it's a dream come true, it's a dream come true. That's the stuff dreams are made of. So, would that be the best ending to the story of EC3 and Rockstar Spud? Who knows? But, if we get to Birmingham for the World Heavyweight title, me versus him, that could be off the charts. You saw what we did in London this year. Imagine what we do in my hometown.